Welcome back to another Insider. And this week we talk about something that is constantly on the news and everyone's minds, which is politically correct, or should I say, politically correct translations. Is that a thing? So stick around, let's talk about it. So let's talk about politically correct translations. And as I said, is that a thing? No, it isn't. So when we talk about political correctness, that cannot apply to translation. And here's the reason why. Well, one of our duties as translators is to convert a text from one language, which we usually call the source language, into another language, which we usually call the target language. Our duty is to convert that text accurately. So that means that we must convey the exact same message, and the target audience should read exactly the same message as the source audience, or the audience that read the source document or text. Of course, and I have already explained this many times, we need to be culturally aware, culturally fit, and sometimes in that conversion, or I shouldn't say sometimes, I should say at all times, we need to get or take into account all those cultural traces, all those cultural aspects of that conversion, because the translation need to be accurate, and to be accurate means that the target audience must read that text and in a way that is so fluent, so fluid, that they think the text was written for them and not translated. So there is things that sometimes translators need to be creative, but when I say creative, does not mean that we have to or we should alter the meaning of the text or the message. We must convey exactly the same message, and that also applies to whatever it's written in there. If it has offensive language, for example, if we don't like it, we can always refuse to do the job. We can say, I'm sorry, I'm not happy to do this project due to the nature of language used. So I wouldn't like to proceed. And that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly legit. You can refuse a job based, I don't know, for example, if it's a project that has some religious content that you don't agree with. Or if you, for example, like me, if you are agnostic, you obviously would not be willing to translate any religious document, because it would be something that you don't believe in. And it's perfectly fine. Or if it uses offensive language, or if he's, I don't know, if he has racism or racist content, or any other content that you find offensive, it is perfectly fine for you to decline the job based on those premises, based that you don't agree with the content. It goes against your moral values, it goes against your values, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. What you cannot do is alter the test in a way. For example, if you have, and let's use the English and the Portuguese as an example. If you have a F word in the English text, you must translate that F word into the correspondent word in Portuguese, which would also start with an F in that particular case. So you have to, if you choose to accept that job, and if the language is offensive, if they use strong slang, you must use the same strong slang on the translation, because if the intent of the original is for the reader to be shocked when they read it, the intent of the translation is for the reader to be shocked when they read it. The intent is the same. The result must always be the same. Therefore, you need to do it accurately. You need to translate. If there's an F word, you have to translate it as such. If you are not happy to translate that sort of language, you can always decline the job and justify to the client the reasons why you're not accepting it. You cannot make political correct translations. It is not okay. It goes against your code of ethics, and you should be aware of that. If you are not okay with the content of the text to be translated, you can decline the job. What you cannot do is alter that to make it more appealing to your liking or to your values, because that's not your text. Remember, we are just the professional that is going to convert someone else's text into another language. However, even the translated text, it's not your text. In reality, is that other person's text. They are the author. You are just translating. And when I say just, please, I'm not diminishing my own job because it's very complex and very difficult. I am just saying that our work is to convert that text, convert it into another language, making the connection between the two cultures. We shall not change it in any shape or form. We shall not make any input in that text because it's not ours, it's the author's. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. I think it's very important to explain this and talk about this. I have already written articles about this. I think it is something that is important to talk about because it affects the way we do jobs. And sometimes, especially when you are in the beginning of your career and you get faced, for example, and I know in the case of, let's say, religious translations, these are always the type of translation that may cause a little discomfort in the translator, especially if they are starting their careers. Let's imagine if you, like me, I'm agnostic, I have no religion, so I have absolutely no interest in translating anything regarding to that topic because obviously it is something that I have no interest in it. What do you do when you're starting your career? Is it good just to decline the job? Well, it is, if you are not happy to do it. Because if you're happy and you accept it, you have to do it. Even though you're going to read something that it's going to be highly offensive to you, or it's going to be something that you 100% disagree with. If you accepted it, you have to do it. So this is the assessment that you have to do. And this is what you should think. Well, I don't agree with this. It just totally goes against my values. It just totally goes against what I believe in. But am I prepared to do this? And if your answer is yes, then you must forget about your values or whatever was making you uncomfortable about that job in the first place and do it. Because if you accept it, it's a given. You must do it. However, if you refuse it, it's fine. It is fine because you also have a moral compass. You have, for example, last week we spoke about when a job is out of your scope, and it's perfectly fine for you to say, I'm sorry, I would love to help you with this project, but it's out of my scope. And it's fine for you to decline the job because it's out of your scope. You're not going to go and do something that you are not 100% qualified to do it. So that's another thing. And the same way, it is okay to say, I do apologize, but you can say, this goes against my moral values, or even if you don't really want to tell the client that you are against whatever is written in that text, for example, and I'm still thinking about the case of religion, you can just say you're not available. That's it. I'm fully booked. I'm not available for this project in this particular occasion. I will be happy to work with you in the future. And if they send you more things and with the same topic, then you may say, well, I'm going to be very honest, I don't work with religious documents because I am agnostic or I'm atheist, whatever you may choose to say. Or if it's another religion that you don't want to translate, you may say that. So I think it is important to be transparent. I think it's important. So I would honestly say, sorry, I do not translate religious literature. It's not on my specialization. It's not on my scope. Even using the scope, because if you are not happy to do it, it's obviously out of your scope. So it's not like you're deceiving the client. You're just saying that it's out of your scope. It's out of what you usually do. So this is what I wanted to say today. So I could clarify a few things about this political correctness and all of that, because these days when we talk about things, which by the way, and this is a bit off topic, however, it has some links. Recently I've read about plenty of books that have been altered for the political correctness and this and that. Well, I am 100% against that. I believe every book and when you write a book, or when a person writes a book, he has the copyright for that book. Whatever that person has written, it's his piece, it's his work. I've seen works of people that have now passed away and are not here to defend themselves, and they have been altered, and I don't agree with that. I've read a few things about this on social media. I don't want to delve into which type of book or which books have been done, because obviously I don't have 100% information on this, and this is not the topic of this video anyway. So I do not agree with anything that is halted, because if it's written, if it's a book, if it was written in 500 years ago or 200 years ago, you should read it. And if you don't want to read it, you just don't read it. Or you should say, this book was written with the mentality of the day, because obviously in 100 years time, in 200 years time, what we now believe is correct may completely be unacceptable, and we have to accept this, that the way that we live today may be unacceptable in 200 years time, and we're not going to alter everything that we've done today, because it's impossible. It's the past. So the same way in translation, we need to be very careful and loyal to the author, and obviously loyal to the person and to whatever we have in front of us. If we are not happy to do it, we can decline the job, but if we accept it, we must face it, and we must do it accurately, 100% accurately. If there is F words, we have to use them. If it's a topic that we don't like, we must embrace it. That's how it is. For today, I hope you liked this video today. I hope you open a little bit of your horizons about things, and what we can and what we can't do as translators, because obviously, especially when we start our careers, and I know it happened to me. That's why I choose to talk about these topics, because I know that when I started, there was a lot of questions that I asked in my mind. And it's not always easy, because, and I honestly, I think this happens to any profession. When you start a job, there's a lot of questions in your mind. You have no experience, and you're just basically trying to go baby steps and learn the job and learn how to do it, etc., etc. So I don't think this is specific of translators, or any specific profession. I think it happens to all of us. But obviously, when you are running your own business, when you are a business person, an entrepreneur, and you try to make decisions for your own business, and you're starting, you always try to leverage what you can and what you can't do. Of course, you don't want to lose clients, and that's always in our mind, and none of us want to lose clients, of course. But we also need to understand what we are happy to do and where we are happy to go, and where we say, no, this is my limit. I'm not going to cross this boundary because it's way out of my comfort zone. It's all way out of what I think is acceptable, or what I think, or what I believe I should be doing. And it's fine. And if we establish these boundaries for ourselves from the start, it is way easier for our clients to understand who we are and what we do, and then go from there. So if we establish our boundaries from the start of our career, once we establish our business, it's way easier for our clients to know, well, for example, and taking again the example of religious literature, if you set yourself in the market and you get contacted and you say, I'm sorry, that's out of my scope, I do not do religious translations, obviously the clients will know, oh well, we have this, but I'm not contacting that translator because she does not do this type of work. So it's also putting yourself out there and letting your clients know what you do and what you don't do. And it's okay. There is a market for everyone, and you just need to show what is yours. What do you do? So, send me your opinion. What do you think? Have you ever been faced with a situation like this? For example, foul language or offensive text, for example, or offensive content, racism, or anything like that, or even religious content that you didn't really want to do. What did you do? Did you decline the job? Did you accept it and done it? What have you done? Just let us know. What did you do? Share with us. And of course, if you have any suggestion of something that you would like me to discuss in our Insiders, just please leave also a comment below and suggest, because I will be very, very, very happy to take it on board and do an Insiders about it. And put a like on the video and subscribe the channel with a click on the bell so you get a notification of a new Insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching. See you next week. Have a good one. Bye.